Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and it's time for another Overwatch theory video, and this one has been a long time coming. I initially wanted to put this one up earlier, but with all the somber stuff that was happening, I felt that it might get lost among all of that. So, like I said, this has been a long time coming. Today we're going to be talking about a possible upcoming character to Overwatch's lineup, Doomfist. So, we're going to begin with going over the history of Doomfist and what he's all about, and then talk about how he might be added to the game and what evidence there is, if any, that he might become a playable character. So let's start with the history. Doomfist originally began as a throwaway line in Overwatch's first reveal cinematic. The trailer showed Winston and Tracer thwarting Reaper and Widowmaker as they attempted to steal Doomfist's gauntlet from an Overwatch museum. Sometime after, it was decided that Doomfist should be more than just an unspecified villain in a trailer, and he was turned into what is known as a generational character. In a similar vein to characters like the Green Lantern and the Flash, the name Doomfist didn't refer to just one person, but instead was a name that passed down from one generation to the next. The earliest known Doomfist was named Adabu Ngumi, and he was dubbed the Savior. The artwork of him that we see in Numbani depicts a large muscular man of African descent with a spiked gauntlet on his right hand. A point to note, his name, Adabu Ngumi, translates to Doomfist in Swahili. But what does interest me about this character is his equipment and title. The armored vest he wears is similar to what we've seen in various cinematics being worn by soldiers. He also wears a crested beret. Both of these items seem to indicate a military background of sorts, so it's possible that he began as a frontline soldier much like Soldier 76, Reaper, Ana, and many other members of Overwatch. But there's no indication that he had any affiliation with Overwatch, so it is possible that he may have been a member of local military forces. While it is possible for him to also have been a warlord or some other villainous character, his title of the Savior seems to be at odds with that. After all, a unified Numbani would be unlikely to call him a savior if he had a less than positive reputation among them. He was succeeded by Akinjide Ngumi, the second Doomfist and known as the Scourge, a title that sounds a lot less appealing. This is a word that is typically used to mean something or someone that causes great pain or suffering. The artwork on the banner in Numbani depicts a man wearing a sort of exoskeletal suit similar to those depicted in games like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare or films like Edge of Tomorrow and Elysium. His gauntlet, however, is drastically different. It's a much larger piece, and contrary to his predecessor, his gauntlet is worn on the left hand instead of the right. This could suggest that he was the opposite of the first Doomfist. It's possible that the first may have been a force for good and not a villain in any way, a liberator of the people perhaps, but the second Doomfist, or the Scourge, went in a different direction. The positioning of them in the artwork seems to suggest total opposition. The first Doomfist is portrayed as strong and faces towards the viewer in full light, while the second faces away from the viewer and is in partial shadow. Another thing is the use of an exoskeleton and the enlarged gauntlet. It seems like he may have relied on machinery and augmentations instead of innate strength as his source of power compared to the first Doomfist, thus making him appear weak in comparison. The third Doomfist, also known as the Successor, still remains at large. While it is suggested that he is a villain and operates near Numbani, little is known about him at all. The artwork in Numbani shows him completely in shadow with only his gauntlet visible. Except in this case it's no longer a gauntlet as it is an entire arm. Now it's not clear whether this is some form of armor, some sort of exoskeletal machinery, or whether it's even a prosthetic arm. But his name is also written in Omnic language, and it has been speculated by members of the community that he might in fact be part Omnic. There isn't much evidence to go on when it comes to that, but at this stage it certainly seems plausible. Also, given that Numbani is supposed to represent the epitome of human Omnic unification, after all, the game scenario on this map takes place during the transport of the gauntlet during preparations for a Unity Day celebration, it's entirely possible that human and Omnic hybridization might not be entirely unacceptable in this part of Overwatch's world. It does remind me of augmented humans in Deus Ex and how they might not be as accepted in other parts of the world, but it also doesn't explain who Doomfist is or what their position is in this world. Given that he seems to be facing the viewer in the artwork but is shadowed, it's possible that this Doomfist might not be a villain at all, or that the general population just isn't sure yet. But what evidence do we have to support the idea of Doomfist being a playable character? Well, aside from artwork acknowledging their existence, the only other reference to Doomfist as a character in Overwatch was a voice line that was data mined from the PTR build some time ago. This line, said by Reaper, seems to reference the attacking team on Numbani, and suggests that Doomfist should go retrieve the gauntlet himself, indicating that Talon, or at least Reaper, may have been contracted to go and get it. Although the gauntlet that we see in both the game and the cinematic trailer is not the same as either the second or third Doomfist gauntlet, and indeed the first Doomfist seems to be the only one that it might have belonged to. But since we don't know which one was defeated by Winston, it makes the alignments of all the characters questionable. In other words, which one of them was the evil one? Which was the good one? Could it be all of them, or even none of them? We just don't know yet. But as for Doomfist becoming a playable character, right now it doesn't seem like there's much to go on, but of course, if you're watching this sometime in the future and Doomfist has already been announced as a playable character, then I guess we have our answer on whether or not it's happening. So, slightly disappointing end to this one. There might be a possibility it could happen in future, but there's just so little we know about this character or generation of characters that it's really anyone's guess right now. But let me know what you guys think. Is Doomfist coming to Overwatch, or is there another character that you think might be added sooner? And is there a character or type of character that you'd like to see added to the game? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, don't forget to check the description for links to anything I've mentioned or all of my social medias. And if you're looking for the latest games but want to save a bit of money, check out Green Man Gaming and use my referral link down in the description below to get yourself a 20% off discount. My name is Panzer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.